Okay, today I'm going to give a very useful uh, insights into the website Expedia.com. Expedia.com is what they call an aggregator. It is not a airline. It's not a hotel. What it does is it collects an aggregator puts together many different websites and brings them together. So in a way, it represents as a broker all the different hotels and the um, tourist, tour companies, but mostly airlines and hotels. Okay, so I use Expedia quite a bit, and I'm going to try to explain how I use it. Expedia, I just was in Israel, which is what I would call a reservation trapped country. Okay, it's almost impossible to get a hotel without using a reservation system. And there's different types. If you look around the world, there are a lot of countries that are trapped by reservations, and they're really causing a lot of inflation. Okay, they're not really creating what you would call free enterprise. What they're trying to do is convince everybody that they must get a reservation to travel. And I like to live in probably the 150 plus countries where there's not a need for reservations, because reservations remove freedom. Okay, they take away your right to just wander the planet. Okay, and I've been wandering the planet now for 26 plus years, and I've been in 115 countries, and I'm presently in Africa. But Expedia hotel reservations are what I'm going to key in today, and I'm trying to be useful to people. Okay, hotel reservations have become like airfare. Many of you know that airfare, I don't know, airfare maybe in the probably about 1980, 85 or something, started, whenever the internet started, the airfare airfare became a problem because they realized that they could maneuver people with their algorithm. Algorithm is a process where they calculate optimum conditions for selling a ticket. And so they play with the heads of people. And so I'm trying to tell you how to play with the heads of Expedia or Kayak or Skyscanner or Agoda or Booking.com or whatever. And there's a lot of websites, and they're eventually trying to become a monopoly. And if they become a complete monopoly, it's going to be a problem because they can systematically raise the prices. And when you look at Booking.com or Expedia or any of them, they're going to say only a few tickets available, and this is 100% a lie. Okay, mainly because a hotel is not synced. There's not a complete sync between the rooms available and the rooms that are on the booking services. Why is that? Because it's too much computer work, and only Hiltons and Sheratons and the major chain hotels can have a complete, sync between when a room gets rented, that room is removed from the ability to rent it. So most hotels, what they do is they put like three rooms on Expedia, 3 rooms on, I don't know, Kayak, 3 rooms on Booking.com. Well, that's not totally true because they're going to, but they're going to distribute them over there. And then when those 3 rooms are booked, they may put 2 or 3 more. Okay, so when they say that's the last room available, that's 100% a lie. It's the last room available on their website, maybe. But they're going to put up more. So I'm going to try to give you some things that I've learned in spending 60 days in Israel, where Israel was a completely sold to the booking the services country. There's no freedom to roam in that country. It's very difficult to just roam around in the country because everything you must have a reservation. Western Europe is like this also. So if you don't have a reservation, you're not going to have a room, and it's a problem because the ability to just stop in check into a hotel becomes very difficult. And for the most part, right now, as best I can tell, the reason why they're doing this, is hotel staff is notorious for renting out a room without telling the owner. But they can say somebody checks in at 8 o'clock at night, they can rent that room, collect the money, and then the person leaves in the morning. And if they leave in the morning at a specific time before the owner shows up, they can completely whitewash this thing and steal the money. And this happens radically. It's radically a big problem of hotel owners renting out rooms. They also rent them out for short term, where they rent them out for sex to people for, say, 2 hours. And this is a way for the staff to cheat the owner of hotels. So hotel owners love the booking service because it gets rid of the ability to steal money. But hotel reservations have become like airfare. It changes by time of day, number of tries, how many times you tried to get on the thing and check out the prices. Cache. Cache is a memory inside your computer or smartphone that remembers how many, and this along with cookies, tells the algorithm how to maneuver you. So cookies are a way to maneuver you. But it's even what really prompted this video is I was trying to make a hostel reservation on Expedia inside Israel, and I realized that if I checked the price on my smartphone, it was $2 cheaper than if I bought it on the computer. Same website, same everything, just $2 more per day if I rented, because I was renting them out for like 15 days, which means $2 a day is $30. And it's not the big money that really causes you problems when you travel. It's all those little nicks. It's not the gouge that gets you. It's the nicks, the continual, never stop nicks. Okay, so you got all these variables. You got the device you're using, the browser you're using, whether you're using Firefox, BraveNet or whatever, Chrome, whatever. All these things matter because each one of the websites caters to these websites. And it's very important that you realize that the hard thing to realize strategically is what they strategically want people to do is they want you to choose like Expedia, and then they want you to not use anything else. And that is 100% the wrong thing to do. What you have to do is, number two, is you must systematically, strategically, randomly search for hotels. So like the other day, Prem asked me if I was checking out Airbnb, and I kind of thought of it as a funny question because if he really understood is I'm checking out everything everywhere all the time. I never ever rely on only one website. Okay, and that is why I'm saying strategically. Why strategically means that you're doing it different than the normal person. Now, what they've tried to do is get you to be brand loyal to Orbitz or brand loyal to Kayak or brand loyal to Booking.com and do it. And it's like what they do is they want you to be one-stop shopping. And that is the wrong thing to do, okay? But anybody that ever wants to ask me a question, you can always write me at hoboontheroad@yahoo.com, hoboontheroad@yahoo.com, and I will answer your questions if they are sort of generally serving to the public in a useful way. But you must, to strategically do this, the strategy that you must adapt is never become loyal to one website. I'm only talking about Expedia because it's one of the major ones and it's one of the few that I probably trust that they are looking out more for the benefits of the public than most companies. Booking.com for sure is not looking out for the general welfare of people, or as Hostel World is not, and there are very few websites that are treated. You can almost say, like, when does a website lie to you? Anything they put up there. Okay, but we must strategically do it. But I'm going to break it down. I use Expedia to purchase 80% of my plane tickets. and 50% of my hotel reservations. But I use Kayak 90% of the time for hotel searches, mainly because they have this option to say 3 days before and 3 days after, and they're really more of an aggregator than Expedia. Expedia has more morals, and they won't let Wizz Air. I mean, they really don't associate with a few different websites, and they won't give you. There's one of those websites that's always, when you get a website, whenever there's a self-transfer, that is very dangerous. Okay, self-transfer means that you are getting 2 plane tickets, and then you're going to be able. You're also going to have to pay 2 baggage tickets. So I did a self-transfer in Brussels recently, which scared me because I got a plane ticket with Aegean Air to Brussels. Then I had a 5-hour layover, so I had a 5-hour layover. Then I had a different ticket to go with Air Marat to Togo. Well, that's a self-transfer. Now, a lot of times, like, there's always this sneaky thing that's happening in Tampa where they're trying to get you to actually change cities on airports. You got to be real careful with airlines. This is why it's very valuable to have somebody like me, or, well, any way you do it. Travel agents had a lot of value, okay? And now the whole goal of the airlines is to confuse you and get you to lose money. And what happens is people will not say when they get cheated. It's like stocks. People don't admit when they admit when they make money. They don't admit when they lose money. That's why stockbrokers never get in trouble, because nobody wants to tell them. But I do 90% of my searches on Kayak. So my default setting is I go to Kayak and then I try to buy on thing. But there's a pull down area where I can choose Expedia. And I really, if I'm going to get the better price, I can't go directly to Expedia. I have to go to Kayak, then go to Expedia. Okay, and Expedia does sell plane tickets, and Kayak has started to. But what I do is I do searches, whether it's Skyscanner, Agoda, Trip.com, Booking.com. I try to do the searches. Then I try to get the corresponding same price on Expedia, because the booking services and the guarantee. There's a guarantee often on plane tickets. Not always, I don't think, but on plane tickets, there's a 24-hour plane ticket guarantee that you can get a refund on your ticket. And this is one way to get an onward ticket. You can buy a ticket, then get it refunded within 24 hours. Be real careful there. You got to make sure you have internet access. But I only one website is where I keep. I better be careful here. I use Expedia as my safeguard, and what I'm saying is, if I get completely robbed of everything I own, all my credit cards, whatever, I would instantly, maybe it's possible, I would buy a plane ticket really quick with Expedia, with the credit card on file with them, and fly back to the United States. Or I would fly to a safe country where I could live safe until I could recoup my credit cards, my ATM cards, and whatever. And I would have time. So sometimes I'm always thinking of which country gives me 90 days. Okay, if they don't give me 90 days, if they give me 30 days, I'm in a dangerous country. If I'm in a 90-day country, it would be my visa. Like here in Togo, I actually had an online visa, but I could have done 30 days, I could have done 60 days, or I could have done 90 days. I did 90 days. But I keep logged in when I'm buying tickets. Sometimes I also, as one of the variables, I don't get logged in on Expedia. I get on their app, I get off their app, I'm on the phone with the app, I'm on the phone without the app. I have to do randomly as many different options as possible. And, because the price changes per time of day, the price changes by the day, and often the closer it is to the day that you're going to leave, the cheaper the price. The longer, there's an anachronism that if you book a ticket, 6 months ahead, then you're going to get a cheaper price. That's just not true, okay? It's all an algorithm where they're trying to figure out. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times when buying 6 months ahead is cheaper. But how do you know? You don't know. You got to know the value of what it is. As a as a rule of thumb, you can fly anywhere on the planet for $700 one way. So round trip would be, say, $1,400. So if you're paying more than $1,400 round trip for any plane ticket on the planet, you're probably paying too much. How much did I pay to come to Togo? I paid $300 one way from Brussels. When I left the United States, I paid $400 for a plane ticket from Chicago to Cyprus. I don't always fly to the destination country. I might fly to an adjoining country, then make a short jump over, trying to make sure that I don't get trapped in the self-transfer. Right? If you stay a couple days, you can make sure your bags arrive and get transferred over. There's a real art to this, and an art is when you do something that isn't factual. It's not going to always be the same. An art is something. But prices change. There are countries where only reservations work, especially for hotels. There are hubs on airplanes, like Detroit is a hub for Delta, and then what is it? Amsterdam is a hub for KLM or something, and you got different places where, strangely, often starting in a place where the hub is for the, say, Delta or something like that, doesn't necessarily mean it's the cheapest. Just how can you do it? You have to continually be in the game, and this is where the algorithm knows that people don't like to be gamed, and they don't like to be nebulous. They don't want to be involved in any situation where they're not certain. And this is what they do, is they wear you down with the uncertainty. I travel in countries where there are less reservations so I can benefit from the good natures of sole proprietor hotels. Expedia does not want you to do that. Kayak doesn't want you to do that. They want you to only use their reservation system. And often people have never traveled anywhere with it. And you can do this in the United States, though. You can travel. If you want to learn how to travel, just go along and try to stop at hotels and see if you can get a reservation. Some hotels won't even let you just check into their hotel without a reservation. And the only way to learn this is to stop in many hotels and inquire about a room and go look at a room. If they won't let you go look at a room, never rent the room. I even when I get a reservation, I go look at the room before I pay them, because to me, a reservation is a way to reserve a bad room, because they can give you any room they want. I like to choose the best room in the hotel. But mom and pop hotels where they are the safest, because if you have a mother and father that own a hotel, or one person that owns a hotel, and he only has, say, the family working for him and one worker, you know who stole something. So it's a lot safer to live in these family run hotels. Inside the United States, they seem to be dominated by, owned by India. And these hotels, for some reason, are horrible. Okay, I don't know why that culture has turned into a problem child culture for things. But there are problem cultures that it's more likely to cheat you than others. Don't think that all cultures are the same. There are cultures that are very beneficial and very good. Like, I like Islamic women to date, but I'm probably never going to marry one. Why? Because the culture is, the father, mother, whatever, are contrary to whatever. I used to be in love with the Israeli culture. Now, I'm after spending 60 days there, I have no use for Israeli women. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't date a Jewish woman inside the United States. But there's nuances all through this stuff. Price. If nothing else you take from this video is the price changes whether you're using a smartphone or a computer. So you got to check on both a computer and a smartphone, and you got to check like 5 times a day. And often I try to check at just after midnight, because sometimes they release tickets after midnight. Cheaper online than there used to be airplane consolidators that would sell packages. They have the published fare of the airline, then you have the non-published fare. In a way, all the consolidators are gone, and the airlines will basically drop 100 tickets for the last minute pricing on Kayak or Expedia or whatever airline, or Orbitz, whatever. I probably haven't bought a ticket with Orbitz. I don't know if I've ever bought a ticket with Orbitz. Trivago, which seems to be a big one on the television, it proved to be absolutely worthless and thing. Trip.com became valuable. Agoda was valuable, but Trip.com is pretty valuable. But I can try to tell you, there's Skyscanner, Agoda, Trip.com, Booking.com. These are the big things. So the goal is to Airbnb. I have zero luck with Airbnb because I'm not going to rent a room without knowing the exact location, because the location determines my cost of living. Okay, so if I'm in the wrong location, if you're driving by car in the United States, yeah, it's not so important. But if you're doing, taxis, you can actually get a room with Airbnb and not be able to find a taxi to leave your hotel or your room, right? But you got to shop all the major. You always want to look at the room before you rent it. Hotels work on reviews. So the value, if nothing else, it is valuable to get a hotel reservation for one night because you can always give the hotel a bad review. That's the only punishment you can give to a hotel. Now be careful. I don't give, especially on Airbnb, I would never give a bad review because you're not going to be able to ever rent a room. And they share this, and they're continually trying to maneuver you to make it impossible for anybody that complains to get a room. But I normally, when I am getting a hotel reservation, I pay online because there's all these additional fees that they add on if you don't pay online. And that they could add on, luxury taxes, room check clean out. This is why I don't buy on Airbnb, because you can get the price at $10 and turn around and have $30 a day in cleaning fees. It's really it's not a trustworthy site, Airbnb. I use Expedia, Booking.com, Trip.com, Agoda, Kayak, Trivago, Hostelworld, and Airbnb. That doesn't mean I'm randomly, strategically checking out the prices. Doesn't mean that the Airbnb can't have this one honest person on the website that has a room. But you got to be careful. There's so many games. Hostelworld has always been. I check on Hostelworld, but they're not honest. They constantly try to work against you to play games with you. But that's what the nature of travel websites is. And one reason I have value is because if you're talking to me, I'm going to tell you how they're playing games. I have no allegiance to any of them. Anytime you see a travel website where they're pushing credit card sales or they're pushing websites, they're basically not working for you. They're working for that company. And this is the reason why I like Patreon, because Patreon allows me to give advice and get paid in a way for my opinion separately. And I'm getting a little bit judicious in how I'm talking to people, because I realize that a lot of people are destroying the planet because they have no benefit, they have no desire to be honest. Do you think the hotel websites are cheating you? Well, the people that rent rooms are trying to cheat people too. It's like they go in, they steal all the towels, they steal the toilet paper, they steal the light bulbs. The spiritual breakdown of people is high. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham, and if you want to talk to me on a regular basis, you can get on my Patreon website, and on Sunday, somewhere between 8, 9, 10 o'clock, we are going to get online and Zoom, and you can have discussions with me, and it's a monthly, the minimum is $5 to be a Patreon. A Patreon gives you direct access to me, and $25 a month will give you pretty much the ability to call me. Strangely, most people don't call me. $100 a month, and I may stop in and visit with you for a week or two. Especially valuable if you're thinking about moving abroad. I mean, if you're going to move abroad, how many people can you talk to that's been to 115 countries and compare? Often people say this country is cheap or this country is expensive or whatever, and I say, compared to what? Okay, it's only compared to other countries, okay, or compared to other hotels, or compared to things. So Expedia does not have the best deals all the time. It's a random strategic checking of all of them, and you can find out. And I'm often disappointed when strategically I cannot buy from Expedia at the cheapest price. So it's a randomness that you have to fall in love with. And falling in love with the game is how you become a traveler. If you don't like discomfort, stay home. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? I'm in Africa and I've been doing this I've lived in 115 countries. I've been doing this for 26 plus years. I'm here and you're not. Why not?